Broadcast
All
is
right.
live.
Welcome, Anthony Lee. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. We got a pretty cool topic coming up here. So those who are joining us live and watching the replays and all that kind of stuff. So Anthony and I decided. So we're actually going to do a full-on Black Hat workshop, a live Black Hat workshop on Tuesday, November 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, and God knows what it is in Arab Emirates or any other location. That's for somebody else to figure out the time zone on it. I went ahead and let me go ahead and re-put that in there. The link into the comments here, which is just the bit.ly or bit.ly/Black Hat Amazon with black capitalized, hat capitalized, Amazon capitalized, all one word. So hopefully you can see that in the chat or the post, wherever this is broadcasting today. So what we're going to talk about, Anthony, what I wanted to talk about is essentially what are we going to be talking about on Tuesday. And I think that we could probably develop this out as the week goes on to kind of feed a little bit of additional information as well as field some questions. So I'm going to ask those who are joining in certainly to post their questions. I would love to hear any examples you've got. Obviously, one of the things that we've seen at Canopy Management, of course, Canopy Management, we handle hundreds of seller accounts. We handle billions of dollars in sales, right? And so on the Amazon sales channel. And so one of the things that we see is we get a very broad, wide view of a lot of things going on Amazon, right? And so we get to see a lot, both the good and the bad, right? So, and I like the fact that you put on the black hoodie. It's kind of a quasi black hat. Some of you have seen me. I've got a black baseball cap. I'm also going to be bringing in the black cowboy hat. For those of you who are aware, near San Antonio, Texas. So I better have a black cowboy hat, right? So you'll be able to see that soon, maybe even later on this week. Anyway, we're going to be talking about on Tuesday three main topics: the black hat tactics that are being used on Amazon, how to defend against those, and of course, how to win against those black hat tactics. So defend and win despite those that are happening. Yes.
So to offer some clarification for anybody that might be wondering, this isn't like we called it a black hat masterclass, but it's not like, hey, come learn black hat tactic. It's like, hey, every seller needs to know what's going on because at some point in your path to success, you're going to run into unscrupulous competitors who are going to do things that may harm you or harm your customers, or there's just a number of things that can happen, right? And a lot of us have heard about this stuff, but we really didn't know what was going on. Like, I think probably everybody remembered there was a time when out of nowhere, all of a sudden, all these listings were getting flagged for being adult, and they were completely taken off of PPC platforms. And everybody was like, what's going on? Then we learned, oh, people with vendor central access, for some reason, those sellers have higher authority in Amazon, and they can do things like change your images for you, right? And you would be none the wiser until it happens. And anyway, so this is an important talk, and I think this is the reason why, Brian, you do this like every year, right? Like every year you kind of revisit this topic.
Yeah, I've done it every year. So I do a couple of things that are more my annual presentations, and those are, and really my goal is to make sure that everybody's up to speed as far as what's going on, kind of the state of the industry. So I literally do the Amazon State of the Channel address. I also do talks like this one, which is of course Black Hat, as well as what's working now in advertising and conversion rates and that kind of stuff. So those are very much evergreen topics that change each year, and so I try to address them. You do too. I've seen a lot of your content over the years. You address as far as like what's going on right now. The funny thing about this one was we had announced it, but we weren't quite as careful in the wording, which is hence why you had your your clarification as far as like, look, we're not actually teaching you how to go use against the terms of service. We certainly don't do that within Canopy, certainly for our clients and partners, but it did. Yeah, it obviously we got some backlash on that one. And I'm okay with that because, I mean, obviously you and I both stick our neck out in the community, try to do the best we can to help as many people as we can. And sometimes we've got competitors or critics that simply just don't like what we say or just don't want to see our face. And I'm okay with that. You know, I've gotten used to that. Usually it's just some competitor that's having a rough year and they just want to take it out on somebody. Cool. I understand that. But yeah, it definitely requires some clarification is that, yeah, we are going to talk about what is happening and generally how they are doing it. We're not going to give you a step-by-step process as far as like, here's the step-by-step process of how you set up a Shield account or, any of these kinds of things, right? It's more of a case of, look, be aware so that you're educated on what others are doing. And here's the things you can do about it. And here's the things you can't do about it. And including Amazon themselves, which is something which is a very big pain point for me this past couple of months as they go on. And I'll explain that more in the workshop, but it is hitting me personally. As some of the Black Hat stuff I see I've got one product that is a little bit more competitive because it's in the nutritional supplement space. And so I get the ones that are more competitive, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
For the game, right? If you don't have some steel behind you, I definitely don't go into some of the more competitive campaigns just because it looks sexy or it looks like there's a lot of volume. So
yeah. Look, I'm also actually excited about this conversation because I really like it when we can take, two different members of the community, put them together, and then we can discuss what our definition of Black Hat is, right? Because you said something that made me think about, there was another prominent member of the community that recently posted the words, rebates are now Black Hat. So the question is, do you think that anything against TOS is actually considered Black Hat, or where do the shades of hat go? I love talking about that, right? Because everybody has a different opinion on this particular topic.
Well, and of course, and I encourage people to ask questions. So one of the questions that we commonly get here is on this kind of a topic is, okay, what is Black Hat? In other words, what's the difference between, I've heard white hat, Black Hat. Well, technically, so these are terminology that goes back in the day, right? So this is white hat, gray hat, black hat, and black hat versus white hat actually, I think, goes back as far as spy versus spy. For those of you old codgers who have been around that long, there's an old comic strip called Spy versus Spy from the old Mad magazine, and which I don't even know if that even exists anymore, does it?
Probably. I definitely don't get it. My subscription ended when I was like 12.
Oh, okay. So. All right. But anyway, so it was the whole like good versus evil kind of thing, right? White hat was good, black hat was evil, and that was often characterized in Hollywood through, cowboys and sheriffs, who are wearing white hat versus black hat, these kind of things, right? So it was always kind of the connotation was always the black hat was bad, white hat is good, and then this whole concept of gray hat. I've heard orange hat, blue hat, all kinds of stuff in between that requires its own definition, but we're talking about white hat, gray hat, black hat. So black hat, full on against terms of service of the platform, which does not mean that it's illegal. It simply just is not within the terms set for by, in this case, Amazon, right? And so
I don't know that I agree with that, but we can talk more about that during the workshop.
Well, and I'm not saying that it can't be illegal also. But in generally, there's a lot of confusion is that people think the black hat is illegal. And I would say, no, not necessarily. It's really more about the terms of service of the specific platform that you're on online. Gray hat is, well, I should say, let's go the opposite. White hat is doing everything within the conformance, within the rules, playing it safe, playing it by the rules. Now, while we as an agency, because we are controlling the finances of a lot of money on Amazon, we have to be more strategic, more tactical as far as the methods that we implement in order to ensure that we're causing no harm to our clients. In fact, what we're trying to do is obviously grow their sales and their profitability and all that, right? Without actually getting them kicked off the platform, right?
I want to add clarification to that too, because I think that's a really important point, right? Anybody that's sitting there going, look at representatives of an agency having these conversations. Listen, there's a reason why Canopy started in PPC, and the strongest place that we offer services is optimization in PPC, because that stuff is always above board, right? That's what Amazon wants you to do. There's a reason why Canopy has grown from that. It's because everything that Canopy does is within that realm of, okay, we're playing Amazon's game. We're partners with Amazon. We want to make sure that Amazon knows that we care about our partners and that they care about our partners, and we grow together. So don't get it twisted. I just wanted to point that clarification out.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. So the white hat in general is going to be the simply just following the rules, right? The letter of the law, so to speak, for the platform. Again, doesn't necessarily connotate legal or illegal. Okay, and please, I do ask you ask your questions so that we can field these as well. The gray hat is basically in the middle somewhere, right? Essentially, what we're talking about, gray hat, is where you're on the line where you might be within the terms of service, but you're kind of pushing it. In other words, if Amazon chooses to change their policy, which where they're known to do, right? Where that becomes incentivized reviews back in the day, which used to be, legitimate, or rebates, or off Amazon promotion, or a number of things, right? Amazon can change, and so it's gray hat until it becomes black hat, right? And one day you could wake up and all of a sudden it's black hat. The biggest problem I see with that, of course, is that you could be doing things gray hat that you think are close to basically within the terms of service, but you know that you're not really. You are kind of gaming the system, right? That's more the gray hat.
I think that we disagree fundamentally on these definitions. We have the same definition of white hat, absolutely, right? We know what that is. That's unambiguous. But the whole reason why we have to have a black hat seminar is because, in my opinion, black hat is anything that is an attack to harm competitors or harm or fool customers, right? Okay. Illegal or not, black hat is an attack that will leave somebody harmed, in my opinion. Okay. Gray hat is anything that does not leave somebody harmed, but still skirts the line or breaks the terms of service. Right. Because what we're going to talk about on this workshop is not going to be your competitors are doing rebates and that's how they're winning and ranking. It's going to be, your competitors are literally taking control of your listing, and that's why you have that that mask guy as your main images, and now your product is screwed until we get it fixed, right? Right. So that's my definition of those terms.
Okay, fair enough. I would say certainly in the context of Tuesday's workshop, we are talking about specifically about the attacks on your accounts, on our accounts, on my own accounts, right? That do occur, will occur at some point, and you want to be able to field those. And so obviously we're going to address that in more detail on Tuesday. This week we're going to have individual topics. Right now, today, obviously we're going pretty high level. Tomorrow we'll go a little deeper, right? Until Tuesday, when we basically reveal the whole thing all in one package. And of course, yes, it's going to be recorded. There is going to be a replay for a limited amount of time. What do we tend to do the replays on? For like 3 or 4 days, right?
Yes. Okay. We'll see how much there's a lot of people interested in this topic though. So we'll see where else we might be able to post it. We want to make sure everybody gets this information. And we've already had we just created the email opt-in, and we've already got so many people that are asking us about this. So this might be a special case where we have to really allow access to a lot more people for a little bit longer. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because a lot of people want to know this kind of stuff too. So you and I are both, I would say, pretty well connected into a lot of different Amazon seller communities, as well as our own contacts within Amazon. And so we have the benefit, because we've been playing this game for so many years, and we get to see such a wide range of accounts and things that go on in the Amazon world. We hear some stuff that may not affect in any of our accounts that we manage, but certainly may that do occur out there. Let's kind of mention just kind of a few of them just off the top of my head here. Certainly the old classic, you hijack somebody's listing and you sell your own product, or you sell a knockoff of that person's product, right? So that's one thing. That's kind of like pretty low-hanging fruit as far as being able to defend. Brand registry will help. It's not a guarantee, but it will certainly help, right? Same thing with trademarks and patents and some of these other things, right? That can help, right? Everything has an added cost, either time or money. A step up from that would certainly be the actually hacking into an account, which is probably easier than most people think. Hacking into an account and actually changing content on a product listing. That's kind of what you were saying about the vendor, the power of a vendor account, of being able to hack in and basically change somebody's product listing, literally adding in content that is known to be against terms of service, creates an automatic flag within Amazon. The listing gets pulled, and Amazon, of course, has a reputation of shoot first and then maybe ask questions, but more likely just demand an explanation as far as why you did it. That usually leaves most of us in the seller position, in a weak position of having to prove a case that we don't know how it was done, right? Yep. Which happens a lot, right? It's a common problem. Other things, of course, has to do with things like review manipulation, right? Intentionally posting reviews that are either negative or positive, or one that's been going around for a couple of years is the whole like, oh, it's a positive review, and literally putting in, I got paid to leave this review.
Or putting in competitor information, like it's a 5-star, but then they're like, hey, you should really check out this other product. So that's kind of like both a promotion for another product and also damning to that account, depending on where the reviews came from. These guys get crafty.
Well, they do, because a lot of times they're trying to make sure that they're disconnecting themselves from being observed. And so they may go so far as to say they're not only going to harm one brand with a review, but then link to another brand that's another competitor to try to get them both into trouble.
Exactly. One of my favorites was, and some of these are really common and some of these are kind of obscure. One of the more obscure but really interesting ones was people who were running promotions, right? Whether they were published to the detail page, that's bad enough because that makes it really easy, or competitor got on like their giveaway list or whatever. They go and buy a whole bunch of inventory, like a whole bunch of product that have it all delivered to the same address, and then that person would get suspended and flagged for collusion with customers. That was fun. That happened. There was a period of time when that was actually really rampant, but I think Amazon got that under control. But that was crazy, right? Because you would have never thought these guys are actually spending some of their money, not much, but some of their money, and getting you suspended in the process.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like anymore is like you do like, say, a giveaway launch promotion, right? Where you're basically saying, hey, you know what? I want you to try out my product, and there's used to be legitimate means. There's white hat, gray hat, black hat means as far as external promotion. We'll go into more detail on those on Tuesday or later on this week even. But that is becoming, especially as of recently, Amazon's new policies as far as the external promotions have definitely gotten a lot more questionable as far as like what is really allowed, like kind of like what you were saying is, how far can you take a rebate before you get caught, if you will, right? And there's a lot of different ways in order to skin that, right? Or to implement that. And kind of like what you're saying is there's a cost of in that kind of a promotion where you're trying to basically get ranking and get visibility and get some additional sales going. You tend to absorb the cost of giving away, let's say, 5, 10, 20 units of your product. Well, to somebody who's out to harm your account, it's pretty easy for them, especially if you're running, big coupons or a launch discount or something like that. They pick up 5, 10, 20 units of your product and use it against you, which essentially is, it's almost like you're in a foot race, at the Olympics. And instead of having a turbocharger on your back, you shoot somebody else in the foot.
Yep.
Same result.
And unfortunately, every time Amazon changes their terms of service, that opens up a window of a period of time before Amazon catches up and realizes what's going on, where black hat competitors can really take it. Like, think about it. Amazon just said, as of the 26th of November, external discounts or coupons, i.e. rebates, will be against their code of conduct. So now all a competitor has to do, presumably for at least a little while, is probably just eat the cost and run rebates for your product.
Yeah.
Right. So, and so now we're seeing into the future of black hat that hasn't even happened yet, but we already know it will because we've seen it before with other terms of service changes in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. I would certainly agree with that. I would like on Tuesday, I will talk about some of the like, say, off Amazon promotion, some of the, certainly the on Amazon promotion. It'll be interesting to see how things get manipulated from the Amazon Post, Amazon Live standpoint. I would think it would be more difficult, but somebody's going to figure out a way to do some harm or to game the system.
Yeah.
So there's that. Just kind of a reminder here. I don't want to take too long. I know that Anthony, you and I both have a huge busy schedule today, so we'll go ahead and leave it at this. We'll kind of wrap up here, and then we'll come back tomorrow. What do you say we come back tomorrow? We go into a little bit more depth as far as some of the tactics being used, and we can field some questions. And then obviously we do invite everybody to show up and attend on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, where we'll go live and we'll go into more depth for an hour, talking about the tactics, basically how they're done, what advantage they have, what harm they have to you, ultimately how you can set up to defend yourself. Now, I'm a big believer, of course, is that you don't have to defend against everything. You simply just need to be not the most attractive victim. It's that the person that leaves their car doors unlocked is an easier target than to a thief than somebody who locks their doors, right? It's kind of simple that way, right? So simply just be a less juicy of a target, right? And then of course some of our tried and true tactics that seem to continue to work quarter over quarter, year over year, that we rely on in order to provide consistent growth and profitability for our clients at Canopy. Obviously, this whole workshop is sponsored by the advertising agency Canopy Management. But if you haven't seen it already, hopefully you can see the post there. I'm going to put it one last time here into the chat that hopefully gets broadcasted out to the different locations here. To Facebook and to YouTube and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And that is going to be bit.ly slash
Black Hat Amazon.
He was asking in a different one.
Bit.ly slash Black Hat Amazon.
Black Hat Amazon. Yeah.
Capital B, capital H, capital A. Black Hat.
And that'll all go to the same page as the previous link that I posted up earlier.
Yep.
I'm just
Yep. And there'll be promotion through social media that has a different link, but just trust the links inside of our social medias. They go to this, and you'll be registered. It'll be good to go.
Yep. Very good. Cool. Anything else for today, or should we kind of just call it and then come back tomorrow and go into a little bit more? I got a tactic I want to talk about tomorrow, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. So I look forward to us going live again tomorrow on Tuesday or on Wednesday. Excuse me.
Yeah. Let's do that. I can't wait to hear it. Same bat times, around same bat channels.
Exactly. Yeah, about
we'll have a
1:30
conversation.
Central. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day, and we'll definitely see you tomorrow and again on Tuesday.
All right. Take care.